want to thank everybody for your patience. I'm not going to stand behind any podiums or anything. I think that we're running right according to schedule because we flow with the universe with my eye. So we had an experience, and the reason why we are running not according to what was at least on the life was because we are at the federal prison in Atwater. And so we made it a point to pay a visit to the incarcerated brothers there and make Dr. Kaba and Dr. Varmah's knowledge and wisdom accessible to them, to impact their lives, to have that ministry, and let them know that just because their lives didn't go in the direction that we would think is the most positive, we haven't forgotten about them. And that was an awesome experience. They were already familiar with Dr. Kaba's work because of Hidden Colors. They actually they watch it almost on a daily basis, you know. So for them, Dr. Kaba, that was almost a unimaginative type of experience. They only had one day to prepare for our arrival because the unit was on lockdown. Because an inmate, we don't know what the situation was. And when I say unit, I meant the entire prison. The entire prison was on lockdown because an inmate, for whatever reasons, was shot. We don't know if he was killed or what the outcome of that is, but what the inmates shared with us, what the brothers shared with us was what they told them was the corrections officers will use deadly force if we need to. Not only did they just show them, but they're like, look, this is what's going to happen to you. You know? So it was definitely a divine experience relating to what they had just experienced. Because I'm sure whoever had gotten shot was somebody's friend, somebody's brother, somebody's son. The brothers, Dr. Kaba and Dr. Varmah, made a really big impact on them. And like I said, gave them hope and restoration of their spirit. And so I hope, or it's my wish or intent that they give you all this same hope and restoration of your spirit. That who you have in the company of right now will in fact change your life. Because the two of them comprise of two things. A historical aspect, factual aspect of who we are, where we come from, our origins, and a religious aspect of our true religious identity, how we were responsible for birthing monotheism, Western religious ideology as it relates to Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. That all of that comes out of ancient Africa, whether we want to accept it or not. The thing about it is that, you know, we can dwell in our ignorance, or we can seek to repair it. And this is a reparation process. So I want to say that as they set up, because we've been doing some major work here. Yesterday, with the workshop that we set up, that didn't go according to plan. And that's why I'm saying that as long as we go with the flow of the universe, of Ma'at, of universal order and balancement, you really shouldn't worry, because the Creator is going to take care of you, right? From within. Because the Creator is not some outside force. The Creator is not some man in a distant land pulling strings to make things happen for you, right? The Creator is inside of you, inside of all of us. And that's why the Romans couldn't really deal with what Yeshua of that day and time was saying that all of you are gods. I'm like, well, wait a minute, because our doctrine doesn't teach this. Our doctrine teaches that you have to go through us. You have to go through our Pope in order to reach the Father, quote unquote. And that gives them power. So anything that goes against that goes against their power struggle, goes against their structure, and hence you have to be eliminated. So this is where we're at. We're in a resurrection time, a time where we can have faith and hope in knowing that people are dedicated to this information and dedicated to bringing it to you. Right? I'm not all-knowing. I do my best. But just like I told Brother Barreggi last night, because we had dinner at the house, Brother Nick was there and Tosh was there, and I said, I cooked, I was doing the dishes, I just was enjoying the ambient and I was still tuning into the conversation. I couldn't drop that. But I told them, I didn't bring them here for me, because I can just pick up the phone and, how you doing, and we can chop it up and everything. I brought them here for all of you. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Because I know what it's done to me in my life, how it's helped me grow as a person, as a better person. Nobody is perfect. I'm not perfect. And one thing I would encourage us all to do is work toward perfection, but accept your imperfection. And that way we won't ego trip all the time. The arguments will cease. Well, at least we'll slow down a little bit. The disagreements will slow down. We'll be willing to listen. We'll be willing to hear the other person and not always be willing or so interested in just being heard. So in the spirit of not interested in just being heard, I'm going to stop talking. And Dr. Kaba and Dr. Varmah, they're setting up the tables in the back. Their information, their knowledge, their work, their scholarly work can sit with you, can be with you as long as you like, if you decide, and we hope you decide, to purchase their DVDs and their items, their books, because that also helps. And that's a part of our economic force that we have to continue to encourage. Right? Like, universities charge us, and we're willing to pay for that information. So let's be willing to pay for this information as well. So, Abdullatif, if you would please. Okay, thank you.
want to know the history real quickly about Jebibara. Jebibara is Malinke Bambara for what you call Jinde here. Jebibara and Malinke Bambara means unity drum. The original Jebibara was only played by priests in a temple. Around approximately 50 years ago, Dugo Fanotare, Numitare brought it out. So now you see people all over Thailand, Europe, everywhere playing a traditional African ritual drum, which is funny to me, but it happens. So if you know the language, a little bit, if I told you Inisoma, you start mixing the rhythm. So I'm teasing him. They haven't been playing that long with me, only 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But they hear the vibration. So I told Halil, his name is Halil, not Khalil. The KH and F like ha. Now you know, right? But it's sound. But I'm saying we have to pay attention to the sound, how you say, what you say, when you say, how you say it. The same as on this. I'm born right-handed, but I'm playing stuff left-handed. So how the mind changes when you play this is what happens. That's what's behind it, that they don't tell you. What's happening with the drum, what it really is, not just entertaining somebody. It's never really about entertainment. It's about a discipline, and you gotta love it, or why would I be busting my fingertips? So this is Caleb, this is Malik, and for a second, and they've been playing with me for not quite 2 weeks. I might have some converse in the front row here. Halil, what's your name? Yeah. Here, we might have some converse. But that's how it starts. Between the drumming and the dance, you can't separate them. It goes together. That's a part of the culture, whether you're in Mali, Senegal, anywhere in West Africa, it goes together. East Africa, you do it, but not quite the same way. West Africa has over 400 rhythms. East Africa has some, but not as many. We go crazy for drumming. They don't do it as much, but they do it. So understanding that. So I'm going to play one real quick one to show you versatility. You ready? So see it goes.
Thank you so very much for that invitation. And with that, and I think the drumming speaks for itself, were you able to introduce yourself properly? Does everyone know you and how they can reach you, maybe?
My name is Abdullatif of Tounkara. You can reach me after this. She can talk to you, and we'll go from there. That lady over there, Indigo. I play drums. Originally, I was an art major, so I ended up doing theater, music, and dance, and it took off. So I understand what people think about people who do art. They think we have a lot of discipline. It's a lot of work you don't see. So whether it's painting, drawing, or making music, there's a lot of discipline. I was teaching him an algebra thing, like his head to listening to was listening. He got it because he heard me say it 7 times in a row, and now you got it now, just with the drum. But if you put the music together, you're talking math. It goes together. It's not separate. There's 360 degrees in a circle, not 1 degree. And they're all related. Your heart is not pumping by itself, and your foot is over there on North Shaw Avenue, is it? Is your head over here and your toes over on Clovis? No, your body works together. Symmetry. So there's rhythm to everything. If I start talking about the quark in an atom, then the atom, then the molecule, then the cell, then the organism, then the body, and how they all vibe together. And people try to tell me, I don't have no rhythm. You breathing? You pumping blood? You do cellular digestion and repair? You thinking about something? You digesting food? That's 5 right there. It's impossible not to have rhythm. Now you can get asymmetrical and make your heart go crazy by thinking that and doing that stuff, and your heart will go like, I don't like that. Your vibe. There's a great impact. So without going further, that's what's really behind it, how you align yourself without going to the W that they call doctor. Thank you.
All right. Passing out these oils here. Dr. Kaba would like for everyone to have that. And while I'm doing that, I want to give Dr. Kaba a very brief introduction and let him do the rest. Has everyone seen Hidden Colors 1 and 2? 1. Number 2 is available. And I think I'm selling. But Dr. Kaba is a historian, a scholar, a staff developer, a curriculum developer. He's dedicated to the minds of humanity, but most importantly, Africans of the diaspora. Bless you. And he's come here today through my invitation, through the community's invitation. And I'm glad that we are here to bless him with our presence. So Dr. Kaba, if you would please.
So happy to see the young people here.
Yeah, right.
All right, Hotep family.
Hotep.
I first want to thank, it's all right to put this in?
Yes.
To thank my brother, Marcus Banks-Bey. This has been a long time in planning. It has taken a great deal of work to make this happen. And I just appreciate our brother Marcus Banks-Bey.
Appreciate you.
But I also have to tell you that I realize that having been married for 32 years, that I am who I am because of my wife. So I would like to thank Brandy, Marcus for assisting to help Marcus be the man that he is. Because I know what it takes to do this type of work. And I know the sacrifice, if we want to call it that. And I know the give and take of that. I know what it takes. And I appreciate you for sharing him and sharing him with us. Realizing that beautiful family. See that little young man kept smiling at me yesterday. Just had a wonderful smile. And to your young lady and to your family, I just thank you for your hospitality, for inviting us into your home, for having the type of meal that we had, and just in general, the type of conversation. I realize I don't use the word queen because I know what the word queen means. So I use, as it relates to that sister who sits on the throne next to the man. We in Kemet called her the Hemet Nesut Waret. And that means the deep well of water that we draw from when we are parched by the desert. So you can imagine being parched in the desert. There's only one thing you want. There's only one thing that will satisfy you, and that is water. But not only was she water, she was a deep well of water which we could draw from. And so I celebrate all the things that we have to do. And we are dedicated, just to give you a little bit of idea who I'm from New York City, born and raised in New York City. I am living in the Bronx. I've lived in the Bronx now 25 years. I am originally from Manhattan, 63rd Street, right by Lincoln Center, for those of you who may know. I grew up in the Amsterdam Projects. The Amsterdam Projects is the northern gate to Hell's Kitchen and the southern gate of Harlem. And so I've had those experiences before. And I grew up understanding culture. And I know what culture does when it's instilled in young people from a very young age. I know what it does. I know how it develops you and helps you understand who you are. Particularly in a world that we're living in that does not have the types of expressions of Africanness. Every day that I wake up, I wonder how African I can be today. Right? White folk don't have to do that. White folk wake up in the morning, they just want to be white. And rightfully so. They should be. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem when I have to limit my Africanness to accommodate a society that doesn't know how to handle this. Do you follow what I say? It's not emotional, not upset. It's about science. You know, it's about understanding who we are as a people and what we've done. And they have denied our young brothers and our young sisters their history and the education. Because personally, I don't think that the Board of Education is fair. Now, let me speak for New York. Because I do not want to come to another home, another state, another city, another community, and start pontificating what's happening here. But I should. You know how Mark Twain said, you know, history don't repeat itself, but it certainly does rhyme. So what I want to share with you, and what I want to share with us, and what I want to share with Dr. Varmah. Dr. Varmah, I cannot tell you how much I've learned just being in your presence these past couple of days, and I'm so very proud to be able to share this time with a scholar such as Dr. Varmah. And I'm looking forward that we will be together again in Jacksonville, Florida on May 19th to celebrate Al-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, our shining star. We're going to drop some knowledge there, too. I want to drop the knowledge that the role that women play now. I want to talk about Sister Clara Muhammad. I want to talk about what she did. I want to talk about the fact that she ran the Nation of Islam from 1935 until 1946. I want to talk about the fact that when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was put into prison, that they were not allowed to bring the Quran into prison. So what she did, she hand-wrote the Quran and snuck it into him every day that she visited him. That's Sister Clara Muhammad. That's what sisters do for the brothers. Deep well. They are the Hemet Nesut Waret. We have been denied our history. We do not fundamentally understand how great we are. I do not want to get emotional. I want to get scientific. Because science will explain what it is that we need to say. Science will explain the principles that would make us who we are on this planet and would allow us to do the things that we did. I know that we say, in the 60s, we said black is beautiful. Okay, but when you study melanin, then you understand the science behind why black is beautiful. Not only is black is beautiful, the only thing that exists in the universe is black, and everything comes out of the black. Come on. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to have a good time today. Between the work that I'd like to share with you and the work that Dr. Varmah is going to share with you, and what the drummers have shared with us, let's give the drummers a hand. James Bond says, give the drummers something. So I'm happy to be here, and I thank you all. I thank each and every one of you for taking this time. The most precious thing that we have is time. If you took a person with a whole deal of money, and they were on that ancestral bed ready to join the ancestors, and you told them, I'm going to give you one thing. I'll give you one thing. They wouldn't want more money. They wouldn't want more shoes. They wouldn't want more houses. They wouldn't want more cars. They say, just give me a little bit more time. Time is the most precious thing, and for you to spend this time in this fellowship, it means a great deal. It means a great deal. Because this is the greatest gift that you could give me. And reciprocally, the greatest gift I can give you is my time. And together we can make this happen. Because it ain't over till we win. We have to fundamentally understand the principles of life, what has brought us here, and to understand that our ancestors would not bring us this far to leave us alone. When Harriet Tubman did what she did what she did for another time. Harriet Tubman was 93 years old, living in Auburn, New York, with a basket every day. She would go out to collect fruits and money and foods and any support that anybody would give for the senior citizen home she ran at 93. Now what kind of spirit is that? Every morning that I wake up, I pray to the spirit of Harriet Tubman. I don't pray to Harriet Tubman, I pray to the spirit of Harriet Tubman. And I ask that spirit that whatever got her up to do what she did, come within me and let me do what I have to do. This is the spirit that we carry out. This is the spirit that we believe in. We have work to do. Our young people deserve success. In my observation, young people, whenever elders ask me what's wrong with our young people, I tell them, look at the men. We abandon them. And I'm preaching to the choir. So please know, I say we only because I don't like to point fingers and say who did it, who did not. Collectively, I take full responsibility. It's another thing. We have to take full responsibility for the position that we find ourselves in. And it's not because I don't understand how I got here. It's not that I don't understand who the culprits are that stole my history, my language, and my values, interests, and principles. It's not that I don't understand them. The fundamental problem is that when you blame somebody else for the position that you are in, you give them the power to get you out, but you also give them the power to keep you in. But when you assume full responsibility, when I assume full responsibility for your education, and I say to myself, I'm the one responsible for teaching you who you are. Nobody else. I am. I can do by any means necessary what it is to be able to educate you. And when those who would wish to get in my way, I remind them of mathematical equation. If you're not a variable in the formula, you're not part of the equation. So you have no right to speak. And so when I assume full responsibility for the education of our children, I can, by any means necessary, do what is necessary to develop what it is that we need to do. We have to understand what culture is. What is culture? We say we should teach culture, but what is culture? Bring it, brother. A little bit north of here. His name is Dr. Wade Nobles. Dr. Wade Nobles was part of a conference in Atlanta. And it was called, the book that came from that is entitled The Infusion of African and African American Content in the School Curriculum, Proceedings of the First National Conference that took place in October of 1989. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to read to you what Dr. Wade Noble says culture is, so that we can from this point be able to build on what it is that we need to talk about, what it is that we need to do, and how we can implement this culture. Charter schools, not into charter schools. Charter schools are bridges to the privatization of public schools. I built 3 charter schools, I know. I was part of the charter school movement when it was called the New Vision School back in 1991, 1992 in New York City. And I guarantee you, no matter how wonderful your charter school may be, no matter how successful your charter school may be, when it come time, the state's going to come in and snatch your charter school. They're going to find something wrong. Even if the doorknob ain't all right.
That's right. Come on.
And they're going to take that charter school, and the next thing you know, it's going to be called Staples Middle School. Mark my words. That is the privatization. You see, by law, public cannot sell private. But public can sidestep into charter, and then the state can sell the charter to the private. And that's why you see so many charter schools inside of public school buildings. Because little by little, like weeds, they're going to grow and going to take over that building. I've been part of this since the very beginning. I thought it was a noble idea until I realized what was going on. And then, of course, I found out that the charter schools are run by the Tea Party from Florida. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. I call it edu-business. I'm the spook who sat by the classroom door. Culture. Culture is the vast structure of behaviors, ideas, attitudes, values, habits, beliefs, customs, language, rituals, ceremonies, and practices peculiar to a particular group of people, which provides them with a general design for living and patterns for interpreting their cultural reality. The system of culture teaches the people to recognize phenomena and to respect certain logical relations amongst phenomena. Culture gives meaning to a person's reality. As such, culture has the power to compel behavior and the capacity to reinforce ideas and beliefs about human functioning, including issues of educational achievement and motivation. Culture is the invisible medium in which all human functioning occurs. It is important to note nothing human happens outside of culture. Culture is to humans as water is to the fish. It is our total environment.
That's right.
Education as well as curriculum development are cultural phenomena. People will tell you, well, I don't know why you're trying to get into this African thing with culture. It's not about culture. We're trying to teach the children. Okay. Part of my job throughout my career at the Board of Education was to study and to look at and to critique and analyze curriculum. Geography, history, politics, economics, the social culture, mathematics, philosophy, psychology, biology, performing arts, language arts, creative arts, all are steeped in white supremacy. You don't learn nothing but that.
That's all.
So you talk about culture not important. No, what you're saying is your culture is not important. But culture is important. Why is George Washington important to me? Or what value does George Washington have? Cut down the cherry tree? Forget about the cherry tree. What I want to know about George Washington is that he held over 300 Africans against